My sister found out who she is. Now it's chaos. It started with a letter, just a plain envelope, no stamp, left on our porch, with her name written in bold handwriting. At first we thought it was some birthday card from a neighbor or a late invitation. But inside that envelope was something that shattered everything we thought we knew. It wasn't a prank, it wasn't vague, it was detailed, specific, with names, places, documents, and one line that none of us saw coming. You were never who they told you you were. And just like that, my sister's whole world cracked open. She read that letter over and over again that night, sitting on the floor, silent, shaking, like her past had just slipped through her fingers. And I sat there with her, not saying much, because what do you say to someone who just found out their life isn't really theirs? The letter said she wasn't born where we thought she was. It said the woman who raised her wasn't her real mother. It hinted at secrets buried by people who thought they could stay hidden forever. At first we didn't believe it. I told her maybe it was fake, maybe someone was just trying to mess with her mind, but she couldn't let it go. She started digging. Old photos, hospital papers, phone numbers tucked away in boxes no one had opened in years, and every answer led to more questions. Every door she opened revealed something worse than the one before. One night she looked at me and said, I don't even know if I'm allowed to call myself part of this family anymore. That broke me, because she is my sister, blood or not. But she was unraveling, and it didn't help that when she confronted the people who raised us, they froze, avoided, denied at first, then admitted, not everything, but enough to know the letter was right. They kept it from her to protect her. They thought the truth would ruin her life. But now that she knows, she's not just angry, she's lost. And so are we, because this house was built on a version of the truth that doesn't exist anymore. And now she's trying to rebuild her life with pieces she's never even seen before. My sister found out who she is. Now it's chaos, and none of us know how to fix it. She changed overnight, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in the kind of way where you can tell someone isn't standing in the same skin anymore. She didn't speak much, didn't eat much, didn't even come downstairs for 2 days. She stayed in her room with papers spread across the bed, old photos laid out like puzzle pieces, trying to put a life together that had never been fully hers. Every few hours I'd check in, bring her tea, ask if she needed anything. She'd just shake her head. I'm trying to figure out if I'm angry at them or at myself for not knowing. That hit hard. Because how do you blame someone for trusting their family? How do you get mad at yourself for believing the life you were handed? But that's what this did to her. It made her question everything, even her name. She found a birth certificate hidden deep in a folder that didn't belong in our house. And on that piece of paper, a different name, a different last name, different parents. And the thing that hurt most, her birthday was wrong too. She hadn't even been celebrating the right day. That was the moment she snapped. She came downstairs, hair messy, face pale, holding the paper in her hands like it was burning her skin. She dropped it on the table and said, So what else is fake? Our mom, the woman who raised us, just sat there, quiet, tired, looking like a ghost. And when she finally spoke, her voice cracked. I wanted to tell you so many times, but I was scared you'd leave, scared you'd stop calling me your mother. And my sister, she didn't cry, she didn't scream, she just whispered, You stopped being my mother the moment you decided I didn't deserve the truth. It felt like something shattered in the room, like the air got thinner, like love was cracking under the weight of lies that had been collecting dust for too long. That night, my sister packed a bag, Not all her things, just enough to say, I don't trust this place anymore. She looked at me before walking out the door and said, I need to go find the rest of me. Whatever's left, I didn't stop her. Because how could I? She was chasing the truth. Something she had every right to know. Something that was stolen from her piece by piece, year after year. But this chaos, it's not destruction. It's the beginning of something real. The house has been quiet since she left. Not just the kind of quiet you notice, but the kind that stays. The kind that settles into the corners, follows you from room to room, makes the air feel heavier than it should be. No music, no footsteps, no voice echoing through the hallway late at night when she couldn't sleep. Just silence, and I could feel the absence of her everywhere. I kept looking at the chair she always curled up in, the chipped mug she always used, the bookshelf where she left her favorite notebook, like she meant to come back. I didn't hear from her for days. No texts, no calls, not even I'm okay. But I didn't blame her. She'd spent her whole life building a version of herself that was handed to her by people she trusted. And now, all of that had fallen apart. She wasn't just trying to find answers. She was trying to find herself in the wreckage. I reached out eventually. One message. Simple, no pressure. I know you're not ready to talk, but I'm still your brother. That hasn't changed. And it never will. She didn't reply right away, but I saw that she read it, and that was enough for now. Because I understood, some wounds don't need words. They need space. She later told me she'd gone to find the woman listed on the birth certificate. The one she had never met. The one who gave birth to her, then vanished from the story. She tracked her down through an old name and a state record. Said it felt like chasing a ghost, but something in her just couldn't let go. And when she finally found her, she didn't look like what she imagined. Not warm, not welcoming, just exhausted. My sister asked her one question. Why didn't you come for me? And the woman said something that made her knees weak. I was told you'd be better off without me, that you were with a good family, that I'd ruin your life if I stepped back in. And just like that, the chaos in my sister's heart turned into something even heavier. Conflict, because now she wasn't angry at just one person. Now she had two versions of truth, and both of them hurt. She sat across from this woman, the one whose face she didn't recognize, but whose blood she carried, and realized something painful. This woman is part of me, and I don't even know if I want her to be. When she came back home a few days later, she looked different. Not broken, but changed. She walked past our mother, the only one she'd ever known, and said nothing. Not hate, not forgiveness, just nothing. And that was louder than any scream. She came into my room that night and said, I don't know where I belong. And I told her the only thing I was sure of. You belong wherever you decide to start again. And when you do, I'll be there. Because she may have found out who she was in blood, but that doesn't mean she's lost who she is in love. My sister found out who she is. Now it's chaos. But from that chaos, she's finally building something that belongs only to her. She started moving differently after that. More careful, more quiet, but somehow more certain. Like every piece of truth she uncovered was both a bruise and a map. Painful, yes, but pointing her toward something real for the first time. She didn't go back to being who she was. That version of her, the one who smiled to make others comfortable, who accepted the story she was handed without asking questions, was gone. She didn't cry as much anymore, but she also didn't laugh like she used to. What she did was observe. She watched our mother, not with love, not with hate, but with a kind of curiosity you only give to people who've hidden too much. Every word from our mom was filtered now. Every sentence tested. and that hurt me to watch. Because I grew up in the same house, but I never felt like anything about me had been stolen. She did. One night, I asked her something simple, something I had been scared to say out loud. Do you regret finding out? She didn't answer right away, just stared out the window, like she was searching for the right words. Then she said softly, no, but I regret not knowing sooner, because now I have to go back and question every moment I thought was real. Because how do you comfort someone who can't trust their own childhood anymore? She started digging deeper, not just into where she came from, but who she wanted to be now, without the lies, without the weight of other people's choices. She changed her last name, not legally, not yet, but in her heart, said she didn't want to carry the name of people who made her feel like a story to be hidden. Our mom cried when she heard that, begged, said she did what she thought was best, that she saved her, that she loved her like her own. But that's the thing, you can love someone deeply and still hurt them by pretending they don't deserve the truth. And my sister, she wasn't rejecting the love, she was rejecting the silence. Because silence can raise a child, but it can't build trust. And what we had now wasn't trust, it was a house filled with half-truths, and people too scared to face what they'd done. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. I need to live somewhere that lets me be who I am now, not who they made me. She hugged me before she left, tight, longer than usual, and she whispered, thank you for staying solid when everything else cracked. I didn't have any big speech, just said wherever you go you're not alone. Because she's not. Even in the chaos, even in the loss, even in the identity she's now rebuilding from the ground up. My sister found out who she is. Now it's chaos. But from that chaos, she's finding clarity.